Evolution of Symmetra, and this is from the beta, right? Is this stuff from beta or when the game releases? May 26, 2016. So wait, that was released.
Hello, welcome back to Overwatch Hero Guides. I'm Daniel Dwyer, joined by Chris Waters. Chris, I remember months ago Jeff Kaplan saying that a team with Symmetra had a higher chance of winning than a team without. Symmetra, one of those characters not a lot of people pick very early on, but incredibly powerful if you have somebody who's able to utilize her properly.
So useful, and the most
hard focusing, like, okay, I'm gonna put this turret on the f***ing ground.
But incredibly powerful if you have
oh yeah, by the way, big Symmetra support hero.
somebody who's able to utilize her properly.
so useful, and the most obvious.
Holy shit! Look at how slow this thing goes.
To utilize her properly.
So useful. And the most obvious way she's useful is the teleporter. That's her ultimate. Once you've got that charged up, throwing down the teleporter.
So you might be thinking, Flats, why is she putting a teleporter in the corner?
Your team doesn't have to run from a spawn
Oh, it's
point.
simple. Because the teleporter is the other
really
end is in the spawn room.
Helps tip the odds in your favor. So you want to put that thing somewhere that's not right on the front lines. It's around a corner. It's somewhere where there aren't long sight lines, so the enemy team doesn't spot it. And also be careful when you put it down. There's a little chevron pointing. That's the way that people are going to come out. So you want to point that towards the front. Don't point it towards
the cliff.
the wall, or you're going to end up with a lot of confused teams.
Don't point it towards the cliff. That'd be really f***ed
And
up.
just a little tidbit of information there. That teleporter, it's only good for 6 teleports, so make sure you've got your team covered when that thing eventually goes down. Another one of Symmetra's abilities are her sentry turrets. She's able to create a bunch of these, and very handy for trapping people, especially when they walk in doorways.
Absolutely. You can put down 6 of these things, and you always want to have all 6 out in the field, no question. You want to put a few around your teleporter. That's a good way to sort of deter people who actually get up close.
Put the turrets on the teleporter.
By a
Yes.
turret, they might run off a little bit earlier. But putting these turrets down behind doors,
Yes.
up above.
Yes, putting the you're defending first point. Let me put a bunch of turrets on second point.
They might
Choke.
run off a little bit
This
earlier.
is surely a good
Putting these
idea.
turrets down behind doors, up above, on walls, around corners, places where your enemies can't really see them until they're getting turreted, is a real great way to just add a little bit of chaos to the battlefield. Because even though they don't do a heck of a lot of damage, they are a nuisance. They can kill people, especially people who are fleeing the main fight because they're
Did y'all notice that? Did that look a little weird to you?
low on health. You pick them off with a turret. Oh, it feels so good.
Symmetra, of course, a support character, so she has got a buff. The photon shield adds a little bit of shield damage to every person. I'm guessing you should be like doling these out like pills.
Just
right?
always have it. Anytime you'll see a prompt on an ally, if they don't have shields, just press that button and you'll
Wait, this is OG Sim. I forgot
It can
about
make a big
that.
difference, especially with a squishier character like
1 second cooldown.
or
1 second cooldown.
offense
Over shield.
players. And every time you see so-and-so has used your
Yeah,
teleport,
here's 50 shield or over
you know there's a
shield.
new
1
ally
second.
that's respawned
1
that needs your
second.
shields.
Talk to me a little bit about her photon projector, her gun. It's got 2 different modes. Which one should you be using and when?
Yeah, so you can charge it up and it shoots this big, slow-moving energy ball, or you can use it as a beam weapon, and it needs to attach to an enemy to do that damage, and they need to be pretty close. So if someone catches you off guard, if someone is flanking, that's
Auto
probably when
aim,
you're gonna
left
do the
click,
beam thing.
sim.
And once you've attached it to them, you don't need to be aiming at them to fire. So you should be jumping all around them. You should be running back and forth through them. Make it harder for them to hit you because you are going to be draining their health the whole time. And also, you don't have a ton of health, so you want to be staying nimble.
I'm not
Charge
saying
shots,
this
though,
was
those
good.
things
I'm
you
not
should
saying
just
rose tinted
basically
glass
be
like this
always
was good.
firing
It's
those down the
funny.
main lane,
Yeah.
especially
It was
at
awful.
Reinhardt, because Reinhardt's shield blocks a lot of projectiles. It does not block your charged shot, and so you can
Does
really
your chat
start
know about the turret basketball tech? I get probably not. Probably most people don't know.
to damage a Reinhardt and discourage
Some people
him
do.
from sitting on the point like he loves to do.
For sure. If there's a payload coming at you as well, it's a great little, place to sort of lob a couple of balls in there, because people are just standing on it thinking that they're protected, especially by Reinhardt's shield. Let's talk about some of the people you should stay away from as Symmetra. Obviously, you're sort of decent a little bit about protecting yourself.
Wait, did you see that?
Jesus, I almost forgot how slow here shot used to be.
Yeah, it is insanely slow.
Obviously,
Look, the Mercy
You're sort
goes
of
for
decent-
res in front of
a
the.
little bit
Oh, maybe
about
she doesn't
protecting
actually.
yourself, but who are the people who, when you sort of
Tried to
move
give her
up
a
with
little
them, you
shield.
get the head out of dodge?
You really don't want to be facing off against a Hanzo or a Widowmaker, someone who can pick you off from a distance, a Zenyatta. That's going to be trouble for you. You're best.
Did they need to get a clip for this video? So they were like, "Hey, just stand still in the corner here. We'll pretend to like slowly peek out and kill you."
Hanzo or a Widowmaker, someone who
What
can
in
pick
the
you off
fuck
from a distance,
is
a
this?
Zenyatta. That's going to be trouble for you. Your best engagements are close range.
Oh my god. They probably got called out a bunch on the old videos for not actually having like moments like this, so they need to have a paid actor moment.
Also, running into an area that you have put your turrets in.
Oh, that's so funny.
The more turret time you've got on people, you're going to drain their health. You're also going to distract them. That turret is like emits a loud buzzing noise too. It's really distracting, and don't underestimate the power of that distraction. You know, throwing turrets up in the
I
main
thought she was
lane
going
area
for res.
around the
I
corner or
noticed
something.
after.
You know
It looked like she was going in for it.
They're going to pull the team's attention away. They're going to do a little bit of damage, and when an enemy is focusing on your turret, they're not focusing on your teammates who are shooting them.
Yeah, it's a great way of just like closing off one lane completely and almost like pushing people to take another option and then sort of allowing your team to focus on that one area. And that's Symmetra, the latest hero on our Overwatch hero guides here on GameSpot.com. Make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube. Check out our playlist, which is featured at the end of this video. You can click on it and see all the other guides we've done. And stay tuned to GameSpot.com for more Overwatch hero guides.
You'd also pick up bodies with her beam. Fun fact. I forgot about that. You're right, though. We got this Akshon Esports vid from a year ago. The evolution of Symmetra. So the one you just saw, this was OG Sim. Sim's had multiple changes since then. Rangeloning's a gifty. I appreciate it.
Symmetra as a hero has always been in a state of constant rework and revision. From the very beginning...
Wait. Did you see that they changed the E? So it went from a 1 second cooldown to an 8 second cooldown?
Of constant rework and revision. From the very beginning, she was initially part of the support category, and later the defense category.
Wait, Lucio wasn't even out at this point in the beta? Oh my god.
Which has since been removed from the game. This lends a parallel to just how awkwardly this hero fits in, along with having a myriad of complete...
Holy shit, dude, my screen just flashbanged me. Photon barrier, shield generator, photon projector, sentry turret. Oh, this is rework 1?
Overhauls that has changed her playstyle drastically. Perhaps one of the hardest characters to track in terms of...
Oh my lord, holy shit.
...compositions that utilize her...
Look, oh my god.
Symmetra has found herself dipping in and out of popular play, depending on the map type and what stage of rework she was currently in. Today, we're not only going to be looking at the incredibly few metas Symmetra has been a part of and supplemented, but mainly focusing on her multitude of changes and reworks that have made her the area control juggernaut that she is.
Oh my god, the old this thing was f***ing useless. This was actually the most useless ability.
Today, this is the evolution of Symmetra.
That thing was literally useless.
During the early development of Overwatch, the game was originally known as Project Titan, which birthed many class and hero types from their developer think tank. Potential playable heroes such as Reaper and Winston were featured on this list. Shortly after a pitch to Activision, Project Titan was subsequently cancelled, and later became Overwatch, the hero shooter we were given back in 2016. During this Project Titan phase, several heroes were shown off in their neophyte form, including Jumper, who would go on to become Tracer, Assassin, who would go on to become Genji, and Guardian, who ended up as Mercy in modern-day Overwatch. Another one of these concepts included a character called Architect, who bears a striking resemblance to the Symmetra we know today, both looks-wise and abilities-wise. She was originally envisioned as wielding an arc welder and blaster as her choice of weapons, with the ability to deploy 3 sentries and a shield generator. As we know today, her weapon turned out to resemble a beam weapon that uses hard light, as it is described in the lore.
Holy shit.
Eventually, her entire kit developed to utilize this hard light style of utility and weaponry, which is unique to only...
Wait, EMP Stealth Ops is Sombra? Wait, what? Wait, right here, Spec Ops. Stealth, EMP... Fission rifle and a silenced pistol. This is Pharah. Juggernaut? Who the f would this be? Charge, so it's Rhine. What a flamethrower. And Flail. Wait. Rig. And then this was Widow. Torb.
Architect, who bears a striking resemblance to the Symmetra we know later. As we know today, her weapon turned out to resemble a beam weapon that uses hard light, as it is described in the lore. Eventually, her entire kit developed to utilize this hard light style of utility and weaponry, which is unique to only her.
Oh, it passed through shields? I forgot about that.
Through voice lines in-game, we know that Lucio and Symmetra have somewhat of a history, leading back to a company named Vishkar, which invented the hard light technology.
What you Vishkar will never understand is that people should be free.
What you call freedom is an illusion that causes more harm than good.
All lore aside, let's take a look at the roller coaster that Blizzard took Symmetra's design through. To begin, Symmetra was a completely different beast than today. Firstly, her proton projector / primary
Hey, wait a minute, hang on. What's this thing?
Her proton projector / primary weapon would lock onto the enemy with a beam and gradually build up damage over time.
Holy shit, I just watched the Symmetra kill 3 people, including supports.
This not
That's
only
illegal
forwent
nowadays.
The need to aim, but made Symmetra an incredibly deadly close-quarter combatant, with the ability to stay locked on despite any AD spamming or dodging that the victim would try. Symmetra's secondary fire, her orb, used to be able to entirely pierce targets and barriers, and did a flat set amount of damage on pass-through. As we know, this is pretty different from today, but we'll get into it later. Her deployable sentry turrets, funnily enough, originally had 3 charges, which was then subsequently increased to 6 at a later date, then reduced back to the 3 that we have today. The main difference, however, is her turrets had a tremendous cooldown of 12 seconds, making them set up anywhere no quick task. Symmetra's first ability, a relic of its time, used to grant a temporary shield to a nearby ally, giving a small buffer of blue HP on top of their native hit points. Her ultimate ability is a familiar one, being a teleporter that she was able to place anywhere on the map, and allowed any teammate to enter the corresponding
and end up not having the arrows at the bottom
that was placed in their spawn, giving quick access back to the battle after an untimely death. Symmetra in this state lended herself to being a strong defensive character, which would make sense given that she was put into the now defunct defensive category of heroes. However, as time went on, people caught on to the regular sneaky turret placements, and resetting her car wash took a large chunk of time. Along with her lack of any mobility options made her a weak duelist once players learned to aim. This ultimately led to former game director
once players learned to aim.
Jeff Kaplan to make a statement that Symmetra was, quote, one of the least played characters back in late 2016, insinuating that some major...
that other video we watched said that Jeff Kaplan said back in the early days of Overwatch that teams most likely won if they had a Symmetra.
Reworks were coming. Eventually, this was made true. 6 months after the release of Overwatch, Symmetra's first major rework arrived alongside their inaugural Winter Wonderland event, introducing a second ultimate into her kit that allowed her to place a shield generator instead of a teleporter, to use in scenarios where teleporting the team from spawn doesn't prove as useful. According to Blizzard themselves, they noted that players would, quote,
look at this goofy-ass photo of Zarya. Holy shit.
Often switch off Symmetra once they found themselves in a situation where her teleporter wasn't as useful. Along with her new ultimate option, her E ability, or the temporary granted shield, was replaced with an active ability called the Photon Barrier.
That thing was fucking useless.
Which was an oval-shaped barrier that advanced forward once cast, granting some offensive power to her already powerful defensive kit. The barrier, while it did break on first contact with anything, would prove to be able to be utilized in creative ways, such as forcing an ulting Pharah to kill herself with her own splash damage, or managing to block a Diva Bomb at the last second. In addition to these new abilities, her existing primary fire range was increased by 2 meters, from 5 to 7, to hopefully push the hero as a more attractive offensive pick. Her turret count was then increased to 6 maximum, and the gargantuan cooldown of 12 seconds was reduced to 10. It was around this time that people started to ask why Symmetra was in the support category, as she is completely unable to heal her teammates, only providing various utility. After reworking her, Jeff Kaplan stated in a developer update that was meant to address popular community topics that they were not looking to make Symmetra a healer, but to make her, quote, more viable.
What we are looking to do is make her more viable in more situations. I think right now she's perceived as being okay or acceptable if you're playing on defense on a first point or early in a match. Other than that, we really don't see Symmetra as being super viable in a lot of other situations.
After a 2-year radio silence from Blizzard on the topic of Symmetra, her
2-year radio silence.
Second rework was released. On June 26, 2018, Blizzard released the 1.25.0.1 patch that would not only completely...
Holy shit, no longer locks on, alternate fire change, sentry changes, teleport changes.
Rework Symmetra yet again, but include a proprietary looking for group menu, and finally the
Oh no, not looking for group. Looking for group got put out to the farm.
Worked Horizon Lunar Colony. Regarding Symmetra, her primary fire had changed to a beam akin to Zarya, no longer featuring a lock-on mechanic, but one that forces you to actually aim and track the enemy. To account for the increased skill required, the maximum
double shield
damage after
Double shield.
Her ramp-up time was increased to 180, and can now build charge off of enemy barriers. Her secondary fire was changed as well, to a projectile that bursts on impact, dealing impact damage and splash damage as well. However, no longer able to phase through entities. Her sentries had also been reworked, changed to a throwable projectile that can be sent across any degree of space.
That was probably the best change they made for her.
Enemies on the fly, rather than relying on a heavy-handed setup before the fight even begins. Symmetra's teleporter had moved from being one of her ultimate options to an ability, replacing the situational barrier that took her E slot before. As it is today, her teleporter ability is on a 10-second cooldown, and instead of auto-spawning the entrance in your spawn, it appears wherever Symmetra was standing.
Damn, the bot's not there no more. I miss him.
When she casts the ability. This change alone allowed for incredibly creative plays, such as teleporting your entire team into and through the window on Lijiang Tower, teleporting your 3 turrets through the portal as a turret bomb, and quickly granting the ability to completely bypass some map choke points, such as Hanamura. Finally, and arguably the biggest change that has come to Symmetra was her ultimate ability, which is potentially the grandest in terms of scale Overwatch has ever seen. Now, instead of a shield generator or a teleporter, she can splice any team fight in half using a map-wide barrier with 4k health. Just enough for the enemy team to not want to bother damage it, and just let it exist through its 12-second duration. Whilst a static barrier, it provides enough coverage.
This was peak double shield though, because you could have Sim. Okay, so there was Doom Reaper at one point, but then there was like Sim and Mei, or Doom Mei, stuff like that. But like you'd have double shield, Orisa, Sigma, and then you'd have Sim Wall. And just there's a very famous screenshot out there somewhere.
Its 12-second duration. Whilst a static barrier, it provides enough coverage to command the direction of a fight in any static battle scenario, such as King of the Hill and 2 CP maps. Now, basically a fully new hero, it was Symmetra's time to see more of the limelight as her abilities and strengths were realized.
You can't see shit!
Throughout Symmetra's various stages, but most notably during her support era, Symmetra mains and one-tricks alike found themselves under fire as being throwers.
He probably left because we have a Sim one-trick on our team. I would leave too if I had a Sim one-trick on my team.
Since Symmetra didn't exactly bring a counter to the table, and not many people knew how best to utilize her kit.
Can you please go Mercy or Lucio? I can go Lucio or Mercy as well. But you can't say Symmetra main and use Symmetra on attack.
Much like Genji and his I need healing meme, picking Symmetra for the longest time was a sign of giving up and not taking the match seriously.
Yes, Sim, can you switch off, please?
You've had your chance to prove it. What have you done?
Things like putting troll teleports at the edge of cliffs to bait your teammates into walking through to their demise was a popular tactic for those who chose the character.
Wait, the screenshot. Hold up really quick. The screenshots. There's 2 of them. 1, 2. Holy shits. What is happening? Imagine trying to explain to somebody, oh, hey, I was playing Overwatch. Oh, what's Overwatch look like? Whenever it goes, if someone says like, "Oh, we should go back to 6v6. We should go back to Overwatch 1." I feel like this clip should be instantly sent to their inbox, immediately, instantly delivered to their inbox.
At the selection screen for throwing purposes. It was in Blizzard's best interest to reverse the mentality the community had formed around this character, and these reworks did exactly just that. That being said, yes, she still isn't a perfectly rounded character that can be used in all situations. But really, what DPS hero is? Every one of them will have their weaknesses and strengths, and Symmetra definitely has hers. Professionally, Symmetra was really only brought out in niche situations. One of these situations is bypassing an enemy's defense on a map like Horizon Lunar Colony, like in the example shown here, which depicts the San Francisco Shock using her teleporter to go straight to the point and set up a defensive hold of their own, which ultimately led to the Shock winning. Another display of power was when DM used Symmetra's reworked ultimate to cut Anubis point B in half, allowing him to shield dance back and forth to avoid incoming damage, all while ramping up her beam and melting barriers and enemies.
And also, if you notice, the charge is going up because I mean that's still a thing now. Like your left click gets more ammo off of the off of shooting, but because there were so many shields, you just never stop shooting because you're either doing damage to enemies or you're reloading your gun.
Power was when DM used Symmetra's reworked ultimate to cut Anubis point B in half, allowing him to shield dance back and forth to avoid incoming damage, all while ramping up her beam and melting barriers and enemies alike. This played out much like when Sure 4 used their photon barrier to force Soul Dynasty off of the point, creating massive space, as if a planet-sized Reinhardt had just appeared in front of their face. The creative play potential is through the roof with Symmetra's
goats,
allowing never-before-seen
goats
combinations like Mirror Wall and Sim Teleporter to be used in tandem to achieve high ground quickly, like seen here on Hanamura, performed by the LA Valiant. Not to mention Symmetra's primary fire as well, which is a beast by itself.
Yeah, the TP plays were actually super cool.
You target enemies, you can build up easy charge by focusing enemy barriers as well, and then transition onto enemy players. Truly a unique playstyle change introduced to the character. It leaves Symmetra in a still niche but strong position as a pick on various maps and surprise compositions. All in all, even Symmetra one-tricks themselves would agree that the changes made to the hero were all or mostly beneficial to the character. Before, she was only really picked for the first push on defense, but now she is competitive enough to continue being played for the second point and beyond as well. Previously, running an attack Symmetra was unthinkable, but now being able to utilize her powerful teleporter on such a short cooldown not only allows Symmetra herself to move around the map freely, but her entire team as well. Sporting fantastic spam damage, she fits in especially well with compositions that include other spam characters, such as Junkrat and Torbjorn, and fares very well on maps where chokes can be completely bypassed by her teleporter, such as Hanamura.
This is a good video. This is a
and
very
Tower.
good one, actually.
Now we await any changes that may come.
The other ones were kind of funny,
too, and how Blizzard will adjust her kit given the data they have on her pick right now. Hopefully, the team can strike a balance between not too annoying, but not completely useless in a team setting. And that's all we have for this episode of Meta Archives. What do you think of Symmetra's current state? What was your
That was a really good video, actually.
Hero? As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
That's a really good video. Oh, it's Hoshizora. Oh shit. Wait, how old is this video? 6 years ago. This is why it was so hard to beat this when it was a thing, because, like, dude, the shield gen, if you're fighting attack first, like, how do you deal with this? I think people made, like, this was the one that made people go, okay, this shit's broken. Like, we need to fix this. elevators. So these, okay. There's actually a remnant of these elevators. It's in the PvE mode. It went up and down on its own. It didn't step on it and then fly up. You had to catch it. See how like it's coming down? Damn, dude. Holy shit. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. This is a legendary screenshot, BP. This is actually otherwise known as Season 1 NYXL. This was their whole team. This was it. So you want to know what this was? There hadn't been the change yet that armor went under shields. Or sorry, to over shields. So armor went under shields. You had normal Zen shields. Plus shield gen. Symmetra shield gen. But then you also had Rally Brig. And Rally would give you 100. I know it ended up being 100 later, but I think it was actually 150. It was 150 armor at first. And it had no decay. The only way you would lose rally armor is if it took damage. You couldn't heal it back up. So, or you use another rally. So, what would happen is you would use rally, and your Zen wouldn't take enough damage to chip down shield. And so for the next like 2 minutes, as long as you didn't lose your whole shield health bar, you'd have all this armor underneath. And then you could also give I think was Torb Scrap still a thing at the time, or was it not? Because it was 150 rally plus 75 shield for shield gen. Was it? It was rally plus shield gen, I believe. Because this bar right here looks slightly brighter. No? Maybe not. Or was it rally plus pack? Point is, though, no shield gen? So wait, this was just scrap? Wait, that's rally plus brig pack? Wait, did brig packs not decay at that time too? Wait, you're right. Wait, they didn't decay because you could give it to your tracer. Wait, so this wasn't even shield gen Zen. This was straight up just brig. It was rally, 150 rally armor, plus the 75 you got from pack. This was just brig. This is what brig had created. Holy shit, you're right, I forgot. You're right. And they hadn't made the change yet. So as long as you didn't lose your health, like your 150, 100-ish health of Zen at the time, you'd still have all this underneath. Plus, the way armor behaved, Tracer would do less damage to armor. So if you had a Tracer trying to dive a Zen, you'd be doing half your damage you normally would. So instead of like 2 clipping a Zen, it would take like 5. Oh my good lord. That is terrifying. That is terrifying. I forgot about that. Dude, my brain... I gotta go pee. My brain is fried, man. My brain is fried.